Welcome to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Devotions designed to inspire you on your daily walk with God. Here's your host, Ken Gurley.
Good Friday morning to everybody. Welcome, Morning Devotion family. I saw Glenn and Pat Jones go by just a moment ago, and of course, they are the reason for this series that we're in. If you don't like it, blame them. That's it. Yes, it all started with a book they bought for me, a 100-year-old set of articles that we're dealing with called 12 Tests of Character. And of course, I can't stay right with those essays. I'm just sort of following as the Lord leads each and every morning. But we are happy that you're here. This is the Morning Devotion family. You have tuned into the right place. This is where we get together Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Central. Say hello to everybody. Hello, Teresa, Eileen, Joy. We just say hello to everybody. Anybody and everybody. Just let them know you're happy to see them here today. And we believe God's going to do some great things, is doing great things. We are in the midst of 12 Tests of Character, and today is Can You Mind Your Own Business? Your own business. That's the way we say it down here. So good Friday morning. And you know the drill. If you're watching on YouTube, participate. Identify. There is a group that meets together on YouTube. And Donald's over there. I just saw Donald go by. And Jonathan's on Facebook. There's a group that meets on Facebook. And don't lurk. Come out of the shadows. And we're looking forward to this. Does anyone know what the largest room in the world is? I'm going to tell you. We're looking at 12 Tests of Character. Today, can you mind your own business? Yeah. We're going to take this right up to year's end. To December 30, which I think is the last Friday of the year, the last day we'll be getting together. And, of course, that leads right into New Year's resolutions. One of my favorite authors of yesteryear, she's passed on, is Irma Bombeck. She was a humorist. She said these are some of her famous New Year's resolutions. I'm going to clean this dump just as soon as the kids grow up. Second, I will go to no doctor whose office plants have died. Yeah. Here's another one. I'm going to follow my husband's suggestion to put a little excitement to my life. I'm going to live within my budget this month. Yes. I love this one. Irma Bombeck wrote one of her New Year's resolutions. I'm going to apply for a hardship scholarship to Weight Watchers. All right. I will never loan my car to anyone I've given birth to. Those were some of Irma Bombeck's New Year's resolution. And then she would close out with saying, just like last year, I'm going to remember that my children need love the most when they deserve it the least. That's a pretty good one right there. The New Year's resolution, though, speak of our desire for self-improvement. The largest room in the world? What's the largest room in the world? The largest room in the world is the room for improvement. We all have room for improvement. We have not arrived. Contrary to what people think, we don't have a halo over our head. We have not sprouted wings out of our shoulder blades. We improve as we address those weaknesses. Now, we were told in a book 20 or so years ago, don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff, they said. But the Bible says it's the small stuff that makes a huge difference in our life. It's the little foxes that spoil the vines of friendships, careers, walks with God. If you handle those trifling things, boy, that's an old word. That's a 100-year-old word. Handle the trifling things of this life. Pay attention to the small stuff, and it'll bring good rewards. You remember what Jesus says, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I'm going to make you big-time boss over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Yeah. That may not be exactly King James translation. You understand that, don't you, Brandy? Saying, maybe not. We're talking about test of character. Character, I think, has been slighted in this day through disinformation, mischaracterization tactics used daily. Oh, the language that we use, gaslighting, pre-bunking, misinformation, disinformation, lie big, retract slowly. That Saul Alinsky, pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize it. Yeah. We're living in a day where character means probably as little as it ever has in the world. The standards of character are changing. But remember, when God measures a person, he puts the tape not around the head, but around the heart. He's gauging your inward character, your integrity. So the series thus far, and let me just bring you up to speed. Glenn and Pat Jones, they're out there. Bought me a book from a yard sale. And in the book, there was 12 essays from a 1922 Ladies' Home Journal. Yes, 100 years ago. And it was a series of articles by a late New York preacher named Harry Emerson Fosdick. And I looked at that, read those over, and I decided the world's got their 12 days of Christmas. We're going to do 12 tests of character to see us through the holiday season. We're attempting to answer this question: do we have character? And there's some tests to reveal our character. We can assess our character. Yes. And one of the assessments is, can we mind our own business? Yes, that's it. Can we mind our own business? People don't really think about character today. It's sort of like the school board who was meeting to discuss the ongoing tacky dress of the school's janitor. It had been warned again and again that those who clean must be clean, but he wouldn't change. In the midst of a school board meeting, one of the members tried to defend him and said, well, I know he's a good, clean person on the inside. And the chairman of the school board said, well, then let's get him turned inside out. If he's clean on the inside, let's turn him inside out. Yes. John Locke said the actions of men are the best interpreters of our thoughts. You want to know what we're thinking? Look at the way we're behaving. And by the way, Barbara, can I just say, we don't think our way into a new behavior. We act our way into a new way of thinking. That's right. We begin to do what we know we should do, and it changes our thinking. We're asking 12 questions, applying 12 tests to see if we're good on the inside and out. Yesterday we talked about, can we keep first things first, as thy servant was busy here and there, prisoner escaped. Priorities are like greased pigs. They will easily slip through our fingers. I have never participated in a greased pig contest. Have no intention to start now. But I'm sure there are people right here in morning devotion that you have. And now is the time to stand up and be proud that you participated in a greased pig contest. Yes, I wouldn't be embarrassed by it. Oh, I would say it. Priorities are like greased pigs. They slip through our fingers. Today we're looking at Luke 15. Luke 15 is Scripture's lost and found department. You remember the story. We have the lost sheep. We have the lost coin. We have the lost son. Yes. And in this today, in the story of the prodigal, we're going to answer the question, can you mind your own business? Yes. And so if you're just joining us, these are the tests of character. The prodigal story is similar to many today. He was impatient, headstrong, wanted a quick fix, spent foolishly, had his own covey of fair weather friends until he was penniless and reduced to feeding the swine. It was there at a certain moment, we don't know how long he was there, in that distant country, that the prodigal learned that his problem was not his elder brother. His problem was not his dad. His problem was himself. Can you mind your own business? It's in verse 17 of Luke 15. It says, when he came to himself. A moment of self-revelation. I don't know. What is this behind me? Tessie, what is this behind me? Is this a llama looking through a fence? I catch it looking at me, and okay. Notice the phrase, when he came to himself. When he was busy at the Father's house, he had probably criticized, ridiculed, rebelled under his father's oversight, chafed under the rules. He probably was resentful of his elder brother's example. But what he didn't realize was he was overlooking his own business. He was minding the business of others, but not his own business. Life has a way. Oh, Janie, Tammy, yes, it does. Life has a way of making us face ourselves. That our biggest enemy is not out there. It's the one we look at in the mirror every morning. Dwight Moody said, I have had more trouble with myself than with any other man I've ever met. Yes. When the prodigal sat amongst the swine in a far country, he came to himself. Probably not a one-time experience. Whatever search for a solution he made, he kept coming back till I am my own worst enemy. He was his own obstacle. Whichever way his mind run, it came back to himself. I remember being required to read, I don't remember, high school, college, I don't remember where it was. I had to read one of the most depressing books known to mortal man. I'm going to mention the book, but some of you say, Brother Gurley, when you mention a book, I run out and buy it. Well, I don't recommend this one. Joseph Conrad, it's supposed to be a fabulous book, one of the greatest books that ever written, they say. It's called The Heart of Darkness. It is a depressing mess. Yes, it was a figurative search of a man for his own heart. Journeyed into the depths of the dark country in search of himself. And the story ends with the man, the dying man, uttering the words, the horror, the horror. Yeah. Doesn't that just encourage you in this morning devotion? But it is horrible when we find out too late that the problems are not before us, they're within us. In the larger mirror of the universe, no man travels far without encountering himself. You can inherit great sums of money as the prodigal did, but you're going to discover the major problem is yourself. You may achieve professional acclaim, but you're going to discover the problem is still yourself. You can marry while everybody's cheering, but you soon find the problem in the marriage, in the home, is usually yourself. You can't change other people, but there is a chance with God's help, you can change yourself. I'm wading through Richard Rohr's book right now called Breathing Underwater. And it's one of those interesting comments he makes. He said, all great spirituality teaches about letting go of what you don't need and who you are not. Then when you get little enough, naked enough, poor enough, you'll find that the little place where you really are is ironically more than enough and is all that you ever need. It's about learning to let go of what you don't need. And one of those things that we need to let go of, folks, is a false image of ourselves. This is one of the greatest and most searching tests of character, is when you grapple with who you are and what you are. I don't know if I've ever said this on morning devotion, but I do like the study of biographies. And when Alexander the Great had conquered the known world by the age of 33, by then he was an alcoholic who, in a drunken rage, killed his best friend Cletus. At the end of his life, he was so demented that he insisted everyone in the world worship him as God. It is possible. It is possible to conquer the world without, but never face up to the world within. Character. Character. We're talking about character. In Shakespeare's play, Julius Caesar, he said the battlefield is not out there somewhere, but right in here. Here's how he said it in his own inimitable way. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. Yes, the fault is in ourselves. Character. Well, this is rough. Okay, let me see if I can say this right. Character is not what happens to you. It's what happens to what happens to you. There, let me say that again. Character is not what happens to you. It's what happens to what happens to you. It's how you process life. How you process life. Can you mind your own business? 12 tests of character. This is the second one that we're dealing with today. Going to end the year with it, the Lord willing. I don't know. I have just felt this. I really have felt we need to close this year strong, taking a good look. Don't wait till January 1 to get these character issues right. Let's just claim some deliverance right now and see this through. I just wish you'd reach out and grab a hold of people and say, let's go through these 12 tests together. As odd as it sounds, why is it? Okay, Elaine. Oh, Debbie, here we go. Why is it that we focus on other people's business and not our own? Jesus said, before you get that beam out of somebody else's eye, what about that mote? Or what? Before you get that mote out of somebody else's eye, what about the beam you got in your own eye? Why is it that we ignore our own business and focus on other people's? We look at other people's faults. We shift the blame to others. Adam in the garden is, well, it's not my fault, Lord. It's that woman. Well, wait a minute. It's not just her. It's the woman you gave me, God. It's really your fault, Lord. I'm not minding my own business. What about Cain? Well, am I my brother's keeper? What about David, ready to judge the fictional thief in Nathan's parable until the prophet said, whoa, King, thou art the man. You're the guy. It isn't your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband, your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your son, your daughter, your pastor, your teacher, your boss, your employee. Thou art the man. We must mind our own business. Don, this is why I think this is so powerful. This is why I think it's just so powerful. Because if we would ever learn that the steering wheel is in our hands, as long as you're saying it's someone else's fault, and look at this and look at that, you're saying you have no power over your own life and your own decisions. When you mind your own business, when you say, I'm coming to myself, it's my problem, it's my issue. Yes, yes. It was Sir George Mellish. He was one of the great legislators of England, served on the committee where they're going to draw up a resolution in honor and congratulations to the Queen. His colleagues had begun the resolution with these words, being conscious as we are of our own defects. Mellish said, whoa, wait a minute, that'll never do. We can't lie to Her Majesty. Let's change it from being conscious of our own defects to being conscious as we are of one another's defects. Yes, yes. We can point out everybody else's problems, but do we mind our own business? It's in Longfellow's diary. Sunday, August 5, 1860. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote in his diary, John Ware of Cambridge preached a good sermon. And then Longfellow added what many people cannot say after a message. He said, not only did he preach a good sermon, but I applied it to myself. Our greatest danger in the area of character is that we can possess things without owning them. To youth, life looks easy. That was the outlook of the prodigal. He had his inheritance, but he didn't value it. He didn't really understand how hard it was to gain that inheritance. Dante once said, "The land is yours, but the landscape is mine." Possession is having things, but ownership is the appreciation of what you have. Possession is sending downtown, as one designer did, saying, "I need 10 linear feet of books with brown bindings to match my furniture." But ownership is what one man said of books: "If the crowns of all the kingdoms of Europe were laid down at my feet in exchange for my love of reading, I would spurn them all." Possession is material. Ownership is spiritual. What we own depends on the height of our character, not the size of our bank account. At Judgment Day, Beverly, at Judgment Day, I'm going to answer for me. I'm going to answer for me. You will answer for you. So why not judge yourself, not others? Judge yourself each day. I heard someone the other day. I just love little phrases that people have. Someone said, "Where's your better half?" And the man responded, "The best is yet to come." Yes, it is. The best part of your life is to come. I don't care if you're 20, 60, or 100. The best of your life is to come. If I had the time to find a place and sit me down full face to face with my better self that cannot show, in my daily life that rushes so, it might be then that I would see my soul was stumbling toward the shining goal. I might be nerved by the thought sublime. If I had the time, take the time. The old hymn said, "Take time to be holy. Mind your own business." I guess what I'm saying, Miriam, is that there are things no one can really do for me. Let me see if I can say this right. You can pray for me. And we do that every day. You can pray for me. But in a sense, you can't pray for me. I must carry that. You can carry my burdens, and we're instructed to do this, carry one another burdens. But in a sense, you remember that old song? You got to walk that lonesome valley. You got to walk it all by yourself. You can carry my burdens, but really you can't carry my burdens. You can encourage me, but there's got to come a day I learn to encourage myself in the Lord. You can watch over me, and I appreciate it, but in a sense, character is who I am when none of you see me. And so I must learn to take heed to myself and mind my own business. I must come to myself as the prodigal did. I must realize the power of seeing what others cannot see in me. All great spirituality, said Rohr, comes down to this: knowing what to let go of and when to lay hold on some things. For all of life is in the grasping and in the releasing. Oh, praise God. I hope this blesses you. We should loop others into these 12 tests of character. Let's close out this year strong. There's no sense in getting in holiday blues and all of this stuff. Let's stay focused on the Lord as we go through these holidays. 12 tests of character. That was the second one. Can you mind your own business? Here at the end of the year, we're focusing on 3 areas. New beginnings. This is an apostolic adoption agency in Tupelo, Mississippi. You can find a link to their site. I encourage you to support them. Reach Out America. has done disaster relief for over 25 years, tens of millions of dollars distributed to people in need. I encourage you to give that. As a local church, we're focusing on cities worth saving, helping Metro, church plants. Why? Because this is the time of year. Yes, we want to mind our own business, but we want to make sure that we lengthen the tent cords, we strengthen the stakes, we enlarge the place of our habitation. That's character. That is character. Facebook, subscribe or follow. YouTube, subscribe. Get the word out. Share this with someone else. Let's loop them in to this year-end series, 12 Tests of Character. You guys are the greatest. The greatest. Here we are on Friday. I got to wait 2 whole days to see you again. Go have a wonderful weekend. Just believing God for an outpouring of the Spirit. Thankful. So many weekends this year, we've seen multiple people baptized. It was true. Pearland and Baytown last week. Looking forward to this week. All sorts of guests coming this week for our Christmas presentation. And I hope you find a great place in your local church with your family. And let's see some great things happen. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you again. I can't say tomorrow, Monday, in Jesus' name.
Thank you for listening to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Join us next time for another inspiring devotion. To support this ministry, please visit firstchurch.com/give.